Good morning, everyone, or whatever time that you're watching this at. So today, for my intro, I decided that I was going to do it without makeup in honor of today's video. So today's video is about a girl, her name's Maddie. She has cystic acne, and it's about her trials that she's gone through in her life with high school and dating, and everything that she's had to go through with her acne and feeling insecure about that. And it's so inspiring. I love her so much, and so I hope you guys enjoy. Like and subscribe down below.
Hi guys, this is Talon from Make a Choice, Have a Voice YouTube channel and podcast. Right now I'm at this girl Maddie's house. She has cystic acne, and we're gonna go interview her and see what she's gone through acceptance and in high school and her dating life and everything. So we'll see you there. Hi! Hey, how you doing? Good. I'm Talon.
Hey, I'm Maddie. Oh, sorry. This is Zion.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Would you like me to take off my shoes?
Oh,
or-
you can do whatever.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. I don't care.
All right.
Do you like dogs?
I do.
Okay, I don't want them to get annoying.
Hi. We have two little dogs on our house.
Okay.
This is for you, just for doing this for us.
Thank you.
It was awesome
That's so
of you.
sweet. Oh, nice.
So where would you like us? So why don't we start with telling us a little about yourself?
Yeah, so I grew up in Tennessee, in the Nashville area, and I just kind of had your normal American little girl childhood. My mom had me go into some pageants. She was into beauty pageants, so that was a little part of my childhood, and into kind of adolescence was doing beauty pageants, and a huge part of my childhood was doing gymnastics. I was a gymnast, so athletics, and let's see, what else? I had a brother, a dog, and yeah, so I pretty much grew up doing athletics, and then I got into some like church ministry type stuff. I love traveling, doing just like mission trip type stuff, and that led me to Utah, ultimately where we are now, and kind of into my job today, and into my relationship with my husband. You know, it's like weird how I ended up here, but here we are together. So
What do you do for a living?
I volunteer at my church. I do worship. I lead worship on Sunday mornings and at youth group on Wednesdays. And I right now have a job where I just like update. It's so boring. I update the website with like events and stuff for our church. And I also have a blog where I a blog / social media presence, Instagram, YouTube, where I talk about acne and my faith and health and wellness type stuff. So yeah, I do a lot of different little things. So
Yeah.
those are my passions.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah.
So, funny story, me and Maddie actually lived in Nashville at the same time. She took voice lessons from my mom, Deborah, when she was a kid. So that's funny. She actually moved here to Utah because you met...
Well, I was originally coming out to Utah for an internship,
Okay.
and then I fell in love, and I decided to stay because, I met a man, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So.
We actually went to her wedding, me and my family. So
Yeah,
that was really cool.
cool.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
Small world.
Beautiful wedding.
Yeah.
So actually, me and my family were talking about it. We have never known that you struggled with acne at all. Like
Which is so crazy.
We really didn't know. We never noticed. We always just thought you were beautiful. It was so sweet.
Oh, that's really sweet. Oh, wow. That's so interesting. I mean, I know we've talked about how with acne, I feel like everyone sees it, I feel like that's the first thing that people notice, but it's just encouraging to hear things like that, to know that that's not really the first thing that people typically notice about me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. when did you start noticing? Like, when did you start getting acne and stuff?
So when I was 15 years old was when I first started to see pimples pop up, and I think that's pretty normal for a lot of teenagers. And so, the first thing I did was go to the dermatologist and see what I could do to figure it out. And of course, I was prescribed, antibiotics and topical treatments, and it helped for a while, but then I would say, I don't know, maybe 6 months later, it didn't really work anymore. And so I went back into the dermatologist and, got some more, different kinds of antibiotics, different kinds of prescriptions. And that's kind of just been the routine for the last 10 years. The acne just always comes back for me. And so, that was kind of my experience with acne from when it began.
So when you were 15, when you first started noticing everything, how severe was your acne?
It's hard to say. I don't think it was too bad back then. I think now if I would look back at it, I'd be like, that was nothing, because it's gotten pretty severe. But it was a little bit on the cystic acne side. I don't think it really took over my whole face at the point when I started doing antibiotics for it. So not too bad, but, because it was the first time I had ever experienced acne, it felt like the world was ending. It felt like a lot. So, yeah.
So for those of us that don't know, what is cystic acne? How would you define that?
It is actually a disease, but it is, I think I read that 80% of people experience acne just from genetics. Like, that's just the answer to why they have it. And it's basically just clogged pores that get infected. And, like I said, it can be caused by genetics. It can be an issue with hormones. It could be sensitivity that you're experiencing, maybe in your gut. You could have like a fungal issue. It really has a lot of different sources in everyone. I think it's a different answer. So
yeah. So is cystic acne the only type of acne, or are there different?
There's different types of acne. There's small. I don't know all the medical terms, but there's smaller ones. Of course, there's like blackheads, whiteheads, cysts. Which are bigger, deeper under the skin. They're the ones that are a little more on top of the skin and smaller. And like I said, hormonal. I think there's different types of acne based on where they come from in your body, like what the reason is behind them.
Yeah. So you said that a reason why you could get cystic acne was because of genetics. Was yours specifically genetic? Did any of your family's members?
Yeah, I think it definitely was. My mom had acne, and she actually went on Accutane, which is like the big, harsh drug that everyone kind of uses as a last resort. But she did that, and she still deals with acne even today, And so I definitely think it was a mixture of genetics, but I've also been able to find some healing personally through just natural solutions like diet and even stress management. So yeah, I would say it's probably for me a mixture of genetics and like gut sensitivities.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So do you think that females are more prone to acne?
I think that it's hard to say. I would say maybe because we tend to have hormonal acne with our cycles. So I think that can make us a little bit more prone to it, especially since we do have those fluctuations in hormones. But there are a lot of men who deal with severe acne too. Yeah. So it's hard to say, but I would say the majority of people I know with acne are women. So yeah, maybe.
I actually can kind of relate to you because this past year I have struggled really bad with acne all throughout my face through here, and it's taken like a bunch of different antibiotics and drugs and different types of creams to finally kind of get it under control. So I definitely can understand that it's really devastating, and it really takes a toll on somebody's self-esteem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you think that acne develops more when you're an adolescent rather than an adult?
I think that when you are an adolescent and you get acne, it is usually due to, puberty and hormone fluctuations.
Yeah.
But if it continues past that, or if it starts past that, I would say, it might be a different issue. Or, for a lot of women, hormone changes, taking birth control, if that's something that a woman starts to do, that can bring up acne for the first time if they've never experienced it before.
Yeah.
And so, I think when you're older and you have acne, a lot of the time it's usually a hormone issue or a gut issue, is what a doctor told me one time. So,
yeah.
Or genetics,
Yeah. So have you ever felt discriminated against because you have had acne, or felt mistreated in any way?
That's another thing that's kind of hard to say, because I feel like I'm the one that has discriminated against myself the most. And I think that's a huge thing among the acne community, is that we tend to be our own worst enemy. And, there have definitely been times where I have gotten funny looks, or, I've gone to get a facial or get a massage, and the lady says, you should really get a facial. Like these kinds of things have happened. But, now I brush it right off because I don't care anymore. But I think that's because I've learned to not be my own worst critic, and so I think that's where we need to start as a, generation of acne sufferers, is we need to start by going a little lighter on ourselves, because I think we tend to be our own worst critic. And sometimes we can imagine that people are looking at us funny, or imagine that someone's thinking mean thoughts about us, and that's just as hurtful as if they really are, even if they aren't. So
yeah.
You said that you did beauty pageant when you were a teenager. Did that ever affect you? Because that's hard to get up on stage and feel self-conscious and stuff.
I definitely remember when the acne started to develop, I thought I wasn't beautiful anymore, because I had success in pageants before when I was younger, and so, that really built up my self-esteem, and I thought, I must be pretty, and then I got acne, and I thought, ooh, I'm not pretty anymore. And so I stopped pageants. I don't think I did a single pageant when I had acne on my skin. I think there were a couple in there when I was taking prescription, drugs, and they were working. And so I did a pageant or two. But other than that, I just didn't do pageants because I didn't feel pretty, with the acne.
So did prescription drugs not last long term? Did it only clear up for a few months?
Yeah, most of them worked for about 3 months, and then it stopped working. There might have been a couple that worked for a year or so when I was younger, but then my body would develop a tolerance to the antibiotics, and so I'd have to move on to something different. And the only one that really seemed to kind of work for me was birth control, and it made me sick. After about 5 months, my health declined greatly, so I had to go off of that. And but I'm kind of glad, actually, because I've been able to find through that natural solutions to dealing with my skin. So kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. Do you think that growing up with it, do you think it can contribute to depression?
Yes, definitely. There have been some studies that show that people with acne tend to be over 60% more susceptible to mental illness like depression and anxiety. Yeah, it's huge in the acne community. And, you know, I've thought a lot about this, and I've wondered if I think there's actually a physical link at times to where, you know, they found that depression can be a symptom of gut health issues, you know, which I've said acne can also be. So, you know, acne and depression can have similar roots in your body, you know, like disease. But also, I think when you have acne, you are living in a world that kind of treats people with acne like they're less than. And that can be very depressing. So, yeah, it's kind of a lose-lose if you have acne. You know, depression can stem from the same thing that's causing the acne, and it can stem from just feeling less than, and like people are looking at you like you're weird. So yeah, it's definitely a risk.
So has that really taken a toll on your self-confidence and stuff?
It did in the past.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I've gone through seasons of depression and anxiety, and you know, I definitely think it was linked to my skin and just my view of myself and kind of my view of the world. And yeah, so there was definitely a long season of my life where I felt depressed because I thought that I was less than, you know, I was just not as valuable as a human as other people because of my skin.
And was that just yourself, or did other people give you that sort of feeling?
I would say I can't really pinpoint one person in particular, but I would say maybe just our culture collectively has done that. You know, I feel like just the ads that I see, you know, skincare ads and makeup ads, I feel like me and, you know, everyone else who suffers with acne are constantly getting this message that we need to hide it, that we need to cover it, that, you know, it's because we're dirty, you know, it's because we have bad hygiene, you know, and I think there's a lot of lies out there about where acne comes from. A lot of people feel like they have the acne because they have bad hygiene, and it's like, well, that's not true. You know, someone could wash their face 20 times a day and be the cleanest person and still have acne. So, yeah, I think it's hard when our culture is always sending us these messages that make us feel bad about our skin.
Yeah. Would you like to see somebody who doesn't have a flawless face and a flawless complexion do a makeup ad?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I have seen that a couple times. There have been actually some girls that I've made friends with through social media who are, you know, making big strides in the beauty industry, have been hired for ads to kind of show that skin with acne is normal. You know, like a lot of people have acne, and so I have always been very pleased when I see those kinds of things, you know, represented in mainstream media.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even think of a time that I've walked into Target and seen on those things about the makeup count, like the makeup things,
right,
with a person that has less than a flawless photoshopped face.
Oh yeah, it's always flawless, always, you know, wrinkle free, acne free, like it's always just, yeah.
Well, on Instagram, it's full of people who just Photoshop and Facetune their photos, and it's just like it makes you feel like you're not enough.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could, it makes you feel like you could never be, you know, a model, or you could never represent any sort of industry that has to do with beauty unless you're absolutely perfect, flawless. And I think that's wrong, you know, particularly.
Yeah. And I think it takes a long time for people, and it maybe not even happens nowadays, to realize that it's okay to be who you are, and who you are is beautiful in your own way, and a special, unique way. And I've had to realize that myself. So I can totally agree with you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you are married.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your husband, Trevor?
Yeah. Trev is just an angel. I think he's the most amazing man, and he has been so supportive of me and just my endeavors of normalizing acne, I guess, and he's always just treated me like I'm beautiful and like I don't have a skin disease, and like that's exactly how I think he should treat me and how I think every man should treat every woman. And so I think he's been a great example for me to be able to show other ladies, hey, you can find love, you can find a man who will love you and treat you well, even if you suffer from a skin condition.
Yeah.
So.
And it's sad that people even think that,
Yeah.
Because I don't think that it doesn't mean that you're dirty or anything. And I think
right.
a lot of people just have a lot of misconception about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So was it hard for you to start dating in your youth? Well, you're still young, but
back in the day. It was. I mean, when I was a teenager, I remember, I would develop these crushes, and then I would be terrified that they would ever reject me. I wouldn't want them to know that I liked them, because I didn't want to fear that rejection. I didn't want to date it just in case that, they would look at me and be like, sorry, but you're ugly, so I don't want to date you, or your skin's gross. And so I was afraid, and it was kind of this tension, because I wanted love, and I wanted to date, but I was also afraid and I didn't feel worthy of love. And one of the biggest things was that I remember telling my mom, I don't want a guy that would like me, because he would be stupid for liking me because I look this way. I wouldn't want to date a guy who has bad judgment enough to like me, to think I'm attractive. And looking back now, I'm like, well, that was very unhealthy of me. That's not the right kind of mindset. But, I've heard feedback that a lot of girls think this. A lot of girls feel ugly, and therefore they don't think they're worthy of any good man, because they don't feel like they are worthy of that. And so because of their skin, how weird is that? But yeah, so when I met Trevor, I had clear skin because I had just come off Accutane, which was, that really harsh drug that typically clears up people's skin. But my acne came back about 3 months after I quit Accutane. 3 months, maybe longer. But no, it was actually about 3 months into dating Trevor was when the acne started to come back. And I was afraid that he was going to think I catfished him, that he was going to be like, whoa, okay, where did this come from? This isn't the girl that I started dating. But much to my surprise, he didn't do that. He hardly noticed that I had acne. I was the one that kept bringing it up, saying, oh, don't look at me like I'm so... And he was like, I don't care. And I mean, I was having dreams that he was going to break up with me. I was so paranoid, and he just was like, I don't care. And the day that he proposed to me, I had cysts all around my face and my mouth. And that was the most beautiful image to me of him pursuing me, asking me to marry him. And I felt so ugly. I felt so unworthy. And it was just such a beautiful picture to me that he would pursue me despite me feeling unworthy. And I think that's love. I think that's true love.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's kind of my dating experience and how I came to be married.
So how did you overcome feeling this way?
I think a little bit of it started with Trevor. He showed me that, he kind of slapped me out of it a little bit, hey, you are worthy of love. You can be loved by a great guy despite, having a skin condition. And so that kind of opened my eyes to realize that maybe I had been a little bit unreasonable in the past. Maybe I had been a little too hard on myself, and perhaps I'm the one that's believing that I'm not worthy and it's not the world around me. And so I think that was the beginning, and then it just kept kind of spiraling once I realized that I could be comfortable without makeup on, that I could be comfortable, you know, in the skin that I'm in. I started posting about it on social media because I was like, you know, there's other girls that need to hear this message that are hiding, you know, who are scared to show the world their skin. And so that has just really reinforced that within me, because I think the greatest way to learn something is to teach it. And so I feel like I've kind of become a teacher, you know, to the other girls, to realize that they're a lot more than their skin. So
yeah. Sorry, I'm getting like teary-eyed. Oh my gosh, I think we all are.
Oh
my gosh. I think this goes just for a lot more than just acne. I think this just goes for everything. And
yes,
learning
absolutely.
how to self-love, because that's so important. And I think that most people are their greatest critic and hardest critic. And I think it's so hard in society today, like you were saying, to really just see yourself who you are and just love yourself.
Yeah.
And that's a really hard thing to accomplish, and it's so inspiring that you have been able to overcome that.
And the thing is, we're all insecure about something. And so even if someone looked at me and said, you're ugly and you're not worthy, it's because, you know, it's probably because they're insecure about something in their life, you know? So I think we all want to love and be loved. You know, it's just some of us have a hard time, building up the courage to do that, and hard time understanding, how to empathize with each other. So, I
think kindness plays a big part in the way that we should interact with people. I think you never know what somebody's going through. Yeah. You know?
Yes. Absolutely.
So you talked about how you have a lot of natural remedies for your skin. What would you give to advice? What advice would you give to those in your same situation?
So I would say you can go to a doctor. You know, they're helpful. They can steer you in the right direction. But, the greatest advice that a doctor gave me was that I said this, it can stem from a gut issue or hormone issue. And so that's kind of where I tell girls to start. You know, if they're looking, again, it's great to normalize acne, and I think it's, great to feel comfortable in your own skin, but I'm not opposed to trying to find a solution for it. And so I would say start with gut health, and maybe start with hormones. You know, if something changed hormonally for you recently, maybe look into that more. You know, if you, something that I have found great healing from is taking out inflammatory foods from my diet. So dairy, gluten, and sugar are like the top foods that if you take them out, a lot of people do find healing from doing that. But I would say also be careful because a lot of girls with acne tend to go a little overboard, and they can even develop a eating disorder. So I would say be careful doing that. You know, I think it's really good to have that foundation of confidence in your skin and not frantically, trying to find a solution, but just go slow and listen to your body. And I think you'll find solutions, over time if you just try some different things. But yeah, that I would say the first things to try looking into are hormones and maybe eliminating those highly inflammatory foods. Yeah.
In the acne community, where would you or somebody else look for help? Is there any type of support group or Instagram page, Facebook group chat?
Yeah, so I am not really a part of any Facebook groups. I'm sure they're out there, but Instagram is huge. I mean, there's an amazing community on Instagram of girls who are, they suffer with acne, and they're always working to normalize it, but also giving suggestions and solutions to try and heal it, because it's no fun. It's really not fun to have acne. And so I think the Instagram community has a really good balance of, just helping girls emotionally, deal with acne and also physically deal with their acne. So yeah, I would say Instagram community. You can just look through the hashtag acne positivity or something and you'll find us. Like, there's a lot of us. So yeah, YouTube probably too. So.
Well, yeah, you did a YouTube video with Shake My Beauty.
Yes.
And do you have your own, or was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. Yeah, I have my own channel where I talk about acne and health and wellness and like my faith and marriage and stuff. So yeah, you can just find me at Madeline Roberts is my channel. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that Shake My Beauty, Shake My Booty. I think it's a play. I think it's a play off of that. Shake My Beauty. Yeah, you can look up Madeline Roberts, Shake My Beauty, and see that video too. So yeah.
Okay. Well, in closing, is there anything else that you would like to say?
I think I would just say, you're more than your skin. You're more than your condition. You're more than your affliction. You have a greater purpose on this earth than to sit around and be sad for yourself. So yeah, that's what I tell people, I guess. So
Well, thank
hope that was encouraging.
Oh my gosh, I'm a mess today. Well, thank you
Cuts
so
deep.
much.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming over.
Yeah, of course. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I love what you're doing. Awesome. Awesome.
All right.
So I hope that touched you guys as much as it touched me. I was sobbing during editing and filming it, and it really just brought light into my life and really touched me and made me think I am beautiful and special and amazing, and everybody else is beautiful and special and amazing, and she is beautiful and special and amazing. And so I really hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe down below.